Hello, this is Brother Bates, and I am just putting together this recording to help anyone who's having issues logging into their Zoom gathering or their Zoom meeting for online seminary. I'm going to run through some possible troubleshooting quick fixes. Let's get into it. Okay, if you're having trouble being heard in the Zoom meeting, you might want to come down here to the bottom of the screen. If it's a mobile device, it looks a little bit different, but it's still down at the bottom of the screen. Just look for the microphone. The first thing you might try is unmuting yourself, right? So if you unmute, just click on this, you'll unmute, then you should be able to be heard. If you're unmuted and people still can't hear you, then I suggest clicking on this little caret down at the bottom of the screen next to the microphone. This will open up your microphone and speaker settings. Okay, you want to make sure that your microphone is set to something that can actually input or record audio. Okay, so for example, mine is set to a microphone right now, which is appropriate, right? That's what you should have. But sometimes Zoom will default your microphone to a speaker, and a speaker isn't able to capture audio, and so nothing will come through. So you want to make sure that the appropriate microphone is set for your microphone in Zoom, so you can be heard. Okay, now if you can be heard but you can't hear anyone else, then you'll want to check your speaker. Okay, so check your speakers down here. There's a lot of different options. Again, sometimes Zoom will default to a peripheral or something connected to your computer that can't actually output sound. Okay, so for example, sometimes it makes your microphone the speaker, and that's not going to work. And so you need to go in here and make sure that your speaker is set to something that can output sound. Okay, obviously you'll also want to make sure that whatever device you're using has a microphone and a speaker. Okay, that's pretty standard for phones, but there are some computers that may not have a microphone attached to them, for example. Okay, so keep that in mind. You can also test your speaker and microphone once you've clicked the correct ones to make sure that they're working properly. Okay, now if your video isn't working, the audio and the speaker is working, but your video is not, then obviously make sure that you click Start Video so that you can be seen. I can't do that right now because I'm currently recording with my camera. And then if that doesn't seem to do the trick and you still can't be seen, then just like before, click on the little caret next to the camera and make sure that the correct camera is selected, right? If you just plugged in a webcam, for example, you will want to make sure that it's selected for your video device. Okay, you can also in here blur your background if you've maybe got, I don't know, other things behind you, people walking around, that kind of a thing that you don't want everybody else to see. You can blur your background, or you can choose a virtual background or filter as you so desire. Okay, that's pretty much it in terms of troubleshooting within Zoom itself. But let me take you over to another list here. Here are some other possible Zoom fixes. Okay, this is more for those who may have a hard time even connecting to the call in the first place, or once you do connect, the connection is really poor and you can't really hear very well, or it's just choppy, or maybe you're continuing to get kicked off the meeting, which I know can be really frustrating. And so here are some possible fixes for that. Number one, restart your computer or your phone. It really is true for almost all technology that if you will just restart, it clears away a lot of whatever issues or junk was causing problems and can fix a lot of issues. So if if you can consistently have problems getting onto the Zoom meeting, I would encourage you to just restart your phone or your computer before each meeting. Okay, number two, make sure you're on Wi-Fi. I know sometimes we need to be in the car or going somewhere else, or at school or something where you don't have access to Wi-Fi, and that's fine. If your mobile network is all you have access to, that's fine. Do your best. But if you're in your home, I would strongly suggest you use Wi-Fi because you're going to have a stronger signal most of the time. That may mean that if you're on your phone, that you turn off your mobile network during the meeting, so that your phone goes straight to the Wi-Fi. If you're on a computer, that should be the default, that it goes to the Wi-Fi. The other thing to consider is to make sure that you're in a room that is close to the router, or maybe in the room with the router. For most of us, that's next to our family computer somewhere in the house. It's like a little black box or stand of some kind. And that's going to be the strongest place to get signal in your home. I had a student recently, just as case in point, who was having a really hard time connecting to the calls. They were really choppy. I suggested he go into the room with the router, and he did so, and from then on it was perfect, okay? Because he was closer to the source of the signal, and it helped. Okay. Number 3, turn off all other applications and games to preserve processing power. Just like you and I have a hard time doing 3 or 4 or 5 things at once, that's the same thing with computers. So turn off any other applications, Word documents, even a browser tab. If you're on a phone, turn off games, turn off any background applications that might be sucking up processing power or bandwidth from your device, so that it can focus on the Zoom meeting itself and making that as effective as possible. Okay, so that's a recommendation. Number 4, give yourself a few minutes before the meeting to get logged on and troubleshoot any issues. If you log on right as the meeting starts, or you try to start logging on right as the meeting starts, odds are you're going to have a couple of issues, and if you do, then you're going to be set back 5, 10, 15 minutes into our meeting, and you're going to miss out on what is an awesome experience as a Zoom gathering with the class. So please make sure you have those things fixed ahead of time. Maybe just try and log in 5 minutes early every meeting. And last but not least, if none of those other things seem to help and you're still having problems, I suggest try using a different device. Some phones, tablets, computers are just really old, and they have a hard time doing something like a video conference call. So if you have access to another tablet, another computer, another phone, whether it's mom, dad, siblings, obviously with their permission, that might help. Okay, usually newer devices are going to work better. So just keep that in mind. I hope these tips are helpful to you to get on with us. Please keep in mind, it is worth it. The Zoom gathering, the face-to-face interactions that we have are an essential component of online seminary. So keep working at it. Bless you for your persistence. Keep trying, and I'm happy to help you, or your teacher will be happy to help you with any other issues. We want you to be with us. Thank you.